I think about the poem, The Shoemaker. The shoemaker who stands by the door. There are members who stand by the door, and there are members who hang out outside for that person who is scared to come in. And they just look at whoever that person may be and just smiles and say, "Hey, good to see you." To have that smiling face saying, "Good to see you."
I heard it through the grapevine.
Welcome. It's the AA Grapevine Half-Hour Variety Hour featuring the collected voices of Alcoholics Anonymous. I'm Sam, an alcoholic in Don, I'm Sam, an alcoholic in Palm Springs, California.
Well, I'm an alcoholic in Oakland, California. That damn Don.
Hey, Alice, did you read this Grapevine Daily quote? I spent years looking for things to alienate me, make me different, make me special or unique, better or worse. I was taught through the steps to start dwelling on the positive, the alikeness instead of the differences. That's from Listen to People's Feelings, Grants, New Mexico, July 1980, Young and Sober, Stories by Those Who Found AA Early.
Yeah. I like that one. I got here at 26, which is relatively early. And I did look around and I thought, oh my God, this is the geriatric ward, right? And so you guys don't have anything in common with me. And it turns out that that's actually not true. The body is just the shell, like it's the soul inside, and we all have a spiritual malady.
I walked into these rooms absolutely comparing. I mean, I came in, my first meeting was a mainstream meeting,
Yeah.
and I'm gay. I walked in there with my knees knocking and scared to death. I'm already scared to death because I'm walking into an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting for the first time.
Well, and you were in the South.
Yes. And so it was so easy to experience the differences.
Yeah.
One of the things that I did is I went to gay meetings, which it's kind of hard to do 90 and 90 if there's not a gay meeting every day. So my experience was that I did not go to enough meetings early on for me to get some traction and stick around.
Yeah.
I went out, and then when I came back, I did mainstream meetings and gay meetings. And what do you know? There were gay people in some of the mainstream meetings I was going to.
How about that? I mean, this is one of those things in Alcoholics Anonymous that I think is nuanced and doesn't get talked about enough.
Hmm.
There are differences. That's why we have young people's meetings and gay meetings and BIPOC meetings, right? People of color meetings.
Black, Indigenous, and people of color.
When I got here, it was just a POC, people of color meetings. That's absolutely true. There are these of what I call affinity groups inside Alcoholics Anonymous, so people see themselves, which has real value, particularly if you're part of a marginalized, dare I say, oppressed group. But the beauty of being a part, I'm Black, I'm a woman, I was young, I grew up in a subculture. I was forced in many ways, which turns out to be a blessing, to join the larger Alcoholics Anonymous and see that while there are differences, while I may be treated different out in the world and seen different out in the world and oppression's real, that we also have more in common than we do have difference. We all are suffering from the failure of self-reliance, the notion that we're not good enough or that nobody loves us or that we're going to die alone or the notion that I can beat the game, I can keep drinking and it's going to be different.
Right?
Like all of us have that in common, even though there are things about us that are different.
Alcoholics Anonymous, the rooms, the mainstream meetings, not the affinity meetings, as you called it, I like that term, are kind of like a cross section of society. And in my experience, I've gotten to interact with people in ways that I never would have without being in the. And, I'm still working on this thing. I've been coming to AA meetings for 21 years now. And I recently, 5 months ago, something like that, joined a men's meeting that is straight, it's gay, it's cis, it's trans, it's all the stuff in between. But one of the things that I am catching myself on is still the things that I need to work on. I have absolutely no problem giving a hug, initiating a hug to one of my friends in that meeting that I know really, really well, and they're all gay.
Yeah. So this is the thing for anybody who doesn't feel at home in Alcoholics Anonymous. There's an intimacy that we get to have with each other, this emotional, spiritual connection that is very rare that you have out in the larger world. And when you can do that, when you allow yourself the opportunity to put aside the differences and be intimate with another member, I began to be able to live in the outside world, the larger world, the non-AA world,
Mhm.
with so much more confidence because I now know from the intimacy I have in AA that we all suffer. It's the human condition.
It is, and my growth waxes and wanes.
Yeah.
I'm going to take on the self-imposed challenge of initiating a hug with my straight friends in that meeting.
Mm.
It's scary territory.
Here's the thing I do that I put a challenge out to anybody who's listening that's up for the challenge. When I go to a meeting that is a new meeting for me, in my area or I'm out of town, I go around and shake the hands and say hello to all the people in the meeting because I'm a member of Alcoholics Anonymous, no matter where I am in the world. And it puts me in this a little bit uncomfortable, right? I got to put
Mhm.
myself out there. But in this place of claiming that I am the hand of AA, right? I am available to reach out and to welcome people in, even if it's their home group and I'm a visitor.
Yeah,
So let's hug, let's greet.
I love that.
And thank you for that quote. And I want to remind everyone that you can read the daily quotes in the Grapevine app every day on your phone or sign up and receive them in your inbox. Just go to aagrapevine.org. So, who's our guest today?
Alice, today we welcome Theresa from LA. And, she was recommended to us by this crazy wild woman. Let's see, who was? Oh, Alice, that's who recommended her.
Yes, yes. But first, the news.
Did it, did it, did it, did it, did it.
Now available in a completely updated and rewritten pamphlet, Black in AA Experience, Strength, and Hope. This pamphlet replaces the pamphlet from 20 some years ago entitled AA for Black and African American Alcoholics. It has new illustration, it has a new introduction, and it has contemporary shares from 12 AA members from around the United States and Canada. The new pamphlet is now available at many intergroups and central offices and maybe in your home group. Please get this because it's for all members of Alcoholics Anonymous. For instance, if you sponsor a Black person, if you have Black members in your group, if you don't have any Black members, but you live in an area where there are Black people, if you just want to deepen your usefulness in Alcoholics Anonymous, this pamphlet is for you. You can download a copy at aa.org, click the search icon and search Black.
Are you going to the International Convention in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, July 3rd through the 6th?
We need volunteers. We need
App ambassadors,
Kiosk attendants,
Grapevine news and information carriers.
info booth attendants.
workshop facilitators.
Don't worry, we'll train you.
If you can help, write IC 2025 Outreach. That's IC as in International Convention. So it's IC 2025 Outreach at aagrapevine.org. That's IC 2025 Outreach at aagrapevine.org. We'll see you there.
Hi, my name is Theresa. I'm an alcoholic, sobriety date 32990. Home group, never too early, big book. Glad to be here. Hi, y'all.
Hi.
Hi, Theresa. So you got sober a bit ago. What was going on with you inside your thinking and such when you came to AA?
I was 24. The way I describe it is alcohol betrayed me, abandoned me, and left me emotionally with no coping skills. That's the best way I could sum that up of what happened to me. And I came from New York City to California. And my mother and my cousin were in the programs. They may have planted a seed or maybe they messed up my drinking, but I thought California was a sober state. Like the gold rush, I was like, that's where all the sober people are. So I need to go over there.
What was your experience? What were you feeling?
That was the problem. I started feeling. So I
Uh,
was born addicted. So I was numb. That was a human doing rather than a human being.
Yeah.
So I was getting loaded my entire life in abuse, all levels of abuse. And all of a sudden, when alcohol betrayed me and abandoned me, I became present for my experience. That's a game changer. And I've only known alcohol my entire existence for the first 24 years of my life. So it was really scary. So my bottom lasted 6 months. I was in a scary world. I don't know if babies feel that way when they come out. Like that's probably why they scream. I don't know. All I know is it was horrible. It was just horrible. And so I went to a church. This is the best way I could describe it. I stepped in a church and I felt the presence and I said a prayer. And the interesting thing about the prayer was that I asked that whatever that energy that was in that church, that I could feel it inside of me. I just believe that this is where the gift of desperation and the window of the grace of God collided with one another.
Mhm.
When I came to California, my mother picked me up and dropped me off in the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous, and she left me there. So I was 3,000 miles from New York City to Cal, and she left me, and she should have, because she couldn't help me any further from that.
Yeah. What meeting?
It was actually Crenshaw Solano.
Wow.
So I thought it was interesting when you talk about people of color. I was in South Central.
Yes,
Everybody of color was there.
that's right. A lot of people don't know this. Depending on where you live in the United States, you may be in an all-black meeting just by virtue of the fact that you're in that neighborhood.
Well, the interesting thing is, although I'm a woman of color, I'm Puerto Rican from New York City, and I only live with Puerto Ricans. So what was traumatic for me
Yeah,
was, where's the Puerto Ricans?
right.
So that was my first, like, there's an issue here because although I'm in a melting pot in New York City, we're segregated, and I don't hang out with people other than Puerto Ricans unless we got to work together or be on the train or something. And so the traditions is what helped me. The tradition said I'm a member because I say I am,
Yeah,
and principles before personalities. I always say I learned the traditions before the steps, that was none of my business. And so I came here like an emergency room. When I go into an emergency room, I'm not concerned about the population in the emergency room. I'm just waiting to see the doctor. And so if I go to ER, I don't care the nationalities and the job, you know what I mean, careers anybody has in there. We're all trying to get help. And that's the one thing that we have in common, is that we're all very ill and we're seeking assistance. And that's literally how I saw it.
do you remember any of the people who were in the rooms when you got here?
I sure do. All the old timers. I mean, they made a huge impact on me, including, I mentioned Marcy a lot. She's passed away, and she was the cement, the anchor of what she said to me. She walked straight up to me, strong and hard and solid, clear in her mission. And she looked right at me and she said, God don't make no junk. You deserve to be here. You're a child of God. And she took her hands and put it on my face, moved me closer to her. And she said, you have a beautiful light inside of you, baby.
Wow.
And we just got a clean house for the light to shine. And she said something completely contrary to anything I had heard for 24 years. Maybe my grandmother, my dad said it, but it was muffled by the other noise.
Yeah,
And I believed her.
yeah,
That makes me think immediately of that thing. I may be the only big book that some people ever see. That sounds like living that.
yeah,
And being responsible for what they did for me. That's the responsibility statement.
yeah.
So I want the hand of AA to always be there, not just because it's a good statement that's made, is that the hand of AA is available for me. And people that I heard speaking, I'm doing what they did me. Like, that's important. Like, I'm responsible for carrying on that message. Like, that's how I can give back what they gave me.
Yeah.
Bill and Dr. Bob aren't here anymore. We live from their legacy, but it all depends on what I'm doing today to continue to keep that legacy strong.
Do you have experience taking meetings in to facilities?
Yes, H&I panels, sober livings, women's treatment facilities. There was a guy in prison listening to my CD, and he would play it there often. So when he came out, he went into the halfway house and told them, there's a girl you got to have here. It's like 300 guys, right, from prison. So they invited me. When I came, they looked at me and they were like, oh, I know what you want from her. Yeah, all the guys were like, yeah, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Try to hit that. And he was just like, no, man, she got a message. And I started sharing, and 300 men were like, oh my God.
Yeah,
And I felt safe in a room with 300 men in a halfway house.
yeah,
What I'm hearing is that you are showing up in the places where you might not see yourself. And that's an important thing for us to do. I'm a white cisgender gay man who's 54 years old. I'm also an atheist. It's real easy for me to hide the gay and the atheist.
yeah,
I can hide in meetings of Alcoholics Anonymous. I don't try to. Now, I don't lead with, I'm a gay atheist every time I get up to share.
yeah. I mean, I'm glad you bring this up, Sam, because You know, Alcoholics Anonymous is often thought of as a religious program, and we are not. And people think that we're Christian, right? And there are certainly some things that are borrowed from Christian theology, but we're not. That's not who we are. And so, for people who are atheists or people who practice something other than Christianity, it's easy to feel like, hey, I don't belong here.
I think the beauty of Alcoholics Anonymous for me was that it didn't matter who I was. For the first time, I could be whatever I am in the room of the broken toys. There was something about whatever my religious background, my beliefs, my political denominations, my interest in sports, my career, the car I drove, the house, it didn't matter. I'm here because I am dying. I can't go one more day. Can't get sober, can't get drunk. I can barely breathe. When I first came into the program, I was heterosexual. Then I became bisexual. Then I became homosexual. And now I'm asexual. And I've been with a partner for 34 years. Does it matter? I know people who are agnostics or atheists. I went to speak in Sweden. The entire country is agnostic. We did great on step one. When we got to two, they were like, stop the presses, you know? And it was amazing to hear people say, regardless of the generations of us being agnostic, if I have to find one in order to not drink again, I'm open and willing. Or
Yeah.
others to say, I can determine whatever that is for me and I don't have to accept it all. I mean, I think that's why I've appreciated Alcoholics Anonymous. In other areas of my life, I have to fit into a label.
Mm.
But in the rooms, I'm just Theresa.
Yeah.
I'm Theresa, I'm an alcoholic. Nothing else is any of your business.
Yeah.
So I've gone to gay meetings. I've gone into an all men's meeting and I need a meeting. I've been in meetings in the South. I'm the only black person in that meeting. I'm a member and you helping a Negro today. I'm
Right.
not leaving. And
Right.
because I have a desire and I'm a member and I ain't going nowhere. So
This thing that you're really talking about, Theresa, which is a sense of belonging. Like, I belong here. Did you have that early on, or did it take a while for you to get that?
that's the very first thing I gained. Marcy said, God don't make no junk. I heard and saw the tradition before the big book. I get emotional because everywhere else in my life, people determined whether I could be there or not. Come from abuse and abandonment and being discarded or labeled, too many labels. Alcohol helped me shut off that noise. And when alcohol is my higher power stopped working, and I come into Alcoholics Anonymous, and it was like, none of that matters. And that's the one place I get to go and I just get to be. And I don't have to fit. I don't have to fit all these, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
These things that
Yeah.
other people insist I fit when I'm outside of the rooms.
Theresa, what is recovery looking like for you today? What's an average week for you?
I've learned to live the 12 steps, that it becomes a working part of my mind and my body, that I stay in the middle of the triangle, unity, recovery, and service. So it's hard to say, what does it look like? I wake up a sober woman and thank God that I'm awake. And then move forward going, how are we going to live out these 24 hours? And how am I useful and purposeful and take everything away that blocks me? And then I go on a journey and I become a witness. I'm the observer. I'm always uncovering, discovering, discarding, being present for my experience. I've been living life on life's terms, having a relationship with a power. Look, I've been treating my alcoholism like a diabetic that needs insulin or cancer patient that needs chemo. I live this program. I do have some people that are like, you do something other than this? Like what?
Yeah.
But I'm living life. I'm walking big book. I'm living this. I'm not an AA member just because I'm in a meeting. I don't understand that.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Teresa, I know that we hit Never Too Early together. That's both of our home groups on Sunday. And I know that we do the Fellowship of the Spirit Toronto's 11 step speaker meeting on Tuesday. What other meetings do you do regularly?
I do South Virtual LA, so it's meetings that go on Monday through Saturday or Friday. I don't know. I've been on online meetings, I think a good 14, 15 years. I've always appreciated the ability to have recovery on the go, including a speaker. This is great. Podcasting, new thing. Right? 34 years I used to get cassette tapes, put
Yes.
them in and listen. I don't know, I think about the men at war, they were able to stay sober, right? And
Yes.
so however way I can connect, I've been a caregiver for many years, so I spent a lot of time in hospice and ICU and hospitals. But because of HIPAA, you just can't go show up to people's bedside without,
Uh,
going through certain channels. So I would get 2 cups of coffee and would go to the smoking section. I knew I would find a drunk in there.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
show up with 2 cups of coffee, like, hi, how you doing? And I'm always gonna find one of us
I love
in the
that.
smoking section. I go to meetings and participate in the program like I drank, and I drank every day, all day. So I wasn't a binge drinker or a weekend drinker.
Folks, you can sign up to receive the daily quotes at aagrapevine.org, and they'll be delivered to your email inbox, or you can read them every day at no cost to you in the Grapevine app. The Grapevine app is free to download, but we'd love for you to get a subscription for $2.99 a month. All right, so we've got 18 pages of quotes that we've pulled over the year or so. Theresa, pick a number between 1 and 18, please.
5.
So I'm going to page 5. I got 4 quotes on there. Give me a number between 1 and 4, Alice.
2.
From Springville, Utah, January 1988, unity seldom means that we all agree. I am responsible, the hand of AA. Unity seldom means that we all agree on everything, nor is unity served by setting aside our concerns and conforming to the majority opinion or the vocal minority. Unity is best achieved by a full hearing of all points of view. Time for all those involved to step back from emotional responses, as well as careful consideration and prayer for that which will best serve the group or AA as a whole.
Wow.
That was good.
Oh, good. So I have fallen in love with the concepts, right? And this is square on concept 5, right? The minority opinion. And the minority opinion is exactly what they're saying. Unity isn't served by me just going along. Unity isn't letting the loudest voice decide. It is having an informed decision. And even if you're singularly offering a different point of view, that we have unity because we hear you. Bill was the minority opinion. They didn't want the book. They didn't want the traditions. Lord knows they didn't want the concepts. And he was the minority opinion, and look at what it gave us. So that's a great one.
Theresa, do you have some thoughts on that one?
I always say no voice is a vote. And here's the one place that I get to have a voice, and I also get to learn how to listen. Is it possible that I didn't consider something else? What was the reason for your opposition? Oh, wow, I didn't take that into consideration when I thought this was a good idea. And so I've grown. Most people don't like business meetings, but I do because it taught me that I belong. I have a voice. You do too. And let's see if we can collectively arrive at a place that is for the greater good of all. And that's helped me in the rooms and outside of the rooms.
It's a magical experience that I've had. The handful of times that I've been maybe in a home group business meeting or a district meeting or at an area assembly where we've got hundreds of people and the minority opinion is presented on something that has gone one way and someone puts forward that motion to reconsider. It reopens the discussion on the topic and they vote again and it changes. I've got goosebumps right now thinking about that. I've never experienced that anywhere except Alcoholics Anonymous.
And so we grow. If I already know everything, I'm not growing.
Alice, you give me a number, please. 1 to 18.
2.
Theresa, give me a number between 1 and 3.
Let's go with number 1.
Number 1. From AA co-founder Bill W. in April 1959. It's in the Leadership in AA, Ever a Vital Need in the Language of the Heart. A leader in AA service is a man or woman who can personally put principles, plans, and policies into such dedicated and effective action that the rest of us want to back him up and help him with his job.
Woohoo! That makes me think about, because he said that in 59. That was after we had the 12 steps and the 12 traditions. And he makes this important distinction between the bleeding deacon and the elder statesman, right? And the bleeding deacon is the person who's like, I've been around longer and I know, and you should listen to me. And why aren't you listening to me? And blah, 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 blah. The bleeding deacon or the elder statesman. You know what? You guys have the right to be wrong and make a mistake. I'm going to sit over here. And when you need me, you come ask me. It's such an important difference because it really is about attraction, not promotion. And a leader is a person who other people are attracted to, not you can't, Amy D says this. She used to 12 stomp people.
12 stomp. Oh my gosh.
Well, I used to 12 stomp people. Nobody wants to be 12 stomped, right? Leadership is about attraction.
But I think we go through all the phases. I've been the 12, the stomper, and I'm running things and I'm going to change. And what I love about all of it is even with the bleeding deacons, we just say, thank you for sharing, keep coming back. We've got AA police. People think they're running stuff. Thank you for sharing, keep coming back. That's what I love about it is you get to be that. You ain't running nothing, even though you think so. And so chase people away. I used to kidnap newcomers. What's a leader? As I do the work and continue to do this work on me, all of a sudden, I don't hold people hostage like I used to.
Yeah.
Or I don't think I have to be the only voice in the room. We allow room for growth and transformation, and we accept one another. But we also decide, although you think you're the AA police, we're not going to do what you want us to do today. But keep coming back.
Oh, I love this. I love this. This is fun. Let's do one more. Theresa, would you pick us a number between 1 and 18?
We're going to go with 9.
Alice, give me a number between 1 and 6.
6.
It's from London, Ontario, February of 1992, Freedom from Alcohol, in the book Voices of Long-Term Sobriety. In a garden, we remove or control undesirable weeds. In my personal sobriety, I remove the things that have been blocking me. And in my home group, by means of group inventory, I do something about the things that cause problems.
Yeah, I love that because sometimes I have stood by and let things happen in the home group that I thought were injurious to the group. But I was like, well, somebody else will deal with it. And I haven't always had the courage to voice the opinion about why I'm concerned and the impact that I think it has, a certain, like the 13 stepper. And I really appreciate that it's saying sometimes what I have to do is the thing that's uncomfortable in order for me to be doing the right thing.
I get to do that. Sometimes I could think it's the right thing and find out that it's not, but I get to do it and somebody gets to tell me that is the right thing or that's not the right thing. I love this place of accountability, neutrality. It all happens here.
A sobriety clubhouse that I was a member of, there was a big discussion about some like moving the clubhouse and accepting a giant donation or something like that. And I was the sole vote against it in that room of people. And that was so uncomfortable. Yeah. And they asked me to give my opinion, that minority opinion. I did. And it changed the vote.
Yep. I like that one. Is this coincidence that the numbers that we picked that was so random, but yet all in alignment of what we were talking about? I don't know, you guys. Is that coincidence or what?
I know. Thank you for creating magic, Sam, with letting us choose.
I simply stepping back and letting things happen the way they should. Imagine that, me not controlling stuff. All right. Well, we're going to wrap up here and say thank you, Theresa, so much.
Theresa, it's just been lovely to have you. Thank you for being a light.
Oh, thank you. I love you.
Thank you to everyone who supports this podcast with a subscription to the Grapevine magazine in print or in the Grapevine app. Your support makes the half-hour variety hour possible.
The traveler approached the lost and found department.
I left a bottle of gin on the train last night. I thought possibly it might have been turned in.
No, it wasn't. But the man who found it was.
It's really not that funny. Thanks for joining us. The AA Grapevine Half Hour Variety Hour is posted every Monday and is produced by AA Grapevine, Inc. We don't speak for AA as a whole. We share the experience, strength, and hope of members to help others recover from alcoholism. All things Grapevine are available at aagrapevine.org, including our app and how to get in touch with us. Find us on Instagram and YouTube. If you want to know more about AA, visit aa.org or search online for Alcoholics Anonymous and your city.